Well, hello everybody. I'm sorry, I'm just a minute late there. I I'll tell you what, the coach part of Coach Cruz was crazy busy today. Um, I don't even have my paperwork out over here. I see Frankie Floyd got us started already here. Let me just find where we left off. And yeah, so we had actually left off with Zoe. I tell you what, I'm a little hectic right now, but hello, everybody. Um, Let me just start by saying hi to everybody. First off, we got Seg was the first to check in over here, and then Ted. We had messaged a little bit today earlier. Remember that was a little funny conversation we were having. Tim is here as always. Great to see. And Jimbo from Mempho is back once again. Good to see you, Jimbo. As I mentioned, Frankie Floyd, I'm going to write that down right now so I don't forget. But you are 29 through 33. And we'll get to the super chats for anybody that's new in the room today. Thank you for that, Frankie. And he's just saying, hey, everyone. And he's only 11 more days away. Yeah. You know what? I get to be jealous of you too, Frankie, because we're 32 days away, I think, from our New Year's Eve. And Ken is here. Good to see you, Ken. Sandy, the Lost Pirate Jenkins, is here. Good to see you again, Sandy. Rick, I just had an article I saw. I was reading on Island Time earlier about Carnival starting in Galveston. So good to see that. Rick, Cheryl is here. Good to see you, Cheryl. And Cruise Life TV is back once again. Hush, hush. Ocean. We got Bruce here, who most of you know follows me. The Down Under Cruise. No bark, no bark. I see. I'm training her bad habits. She's saying thank you. She's just wanting the treats without earning them. Down Under Cruisers again. Z is here. Good to see you, Z. And I know you're getting excited about your cruise. You're under 30 days now, I know. What is the exact count there, Z? We got Ben back once again. Good to see you, Ben. Carnival Cruise Addicts. What is going on? Great to see you. And I think I'm getting through just about everybody. And then we got Justin checking in. Great to see you as always, Justin. And Rick says the next column will be about the Jubilee. So good to see. All right, so I can exhale now. Before I do, if you haven't hit that like button, if you could hit that like button before we get started, that would be awesome. That might help populate this video to a few more people, or this live, I should say. And of course, I am back from the Carnival Celebration. For those of you that don't know, I see Ted's got 73 days and Z's got 25 days for their next cruises. So that is awesome. It's just we got off the ship on, or I got off the ship on Sunday, and luckily was able to get off early and get to a 10:30 flight that was a nonstop. So made it back home late in the afternoon. So I was actually able to relax. But then yesterday, basketball, and then today practice, and then rushing back here, try to get a shower, try to get something to eat, try to change shirts and, and all that, and get ready for the show. So it's been a little hectic here, but the Carnival Celebration did not disappoint. Great cruise, always a lot of fun, and looking forward to the next time already, which again will be New Year's Eve. And we got Will here, who says only 20 days away for Will. So we got a lot of people in here doing some cruise countdowns, which is always great to see. Okay, Sean says, hello, everybody. Thanks again for Mr. Sancho's recommendation. We had a wonderful time, beautiful beach, great amenities, and awesome service. Yes, Mr. Sancho's is definitely one of the, I would say, the top two. I think Mr. Sancho's and Paradise Beach are probably the top two. And look at that, Carnival Cruise Addicts is only 5 days away. Can anybody beat 5 days? We might get somebody jump in here that says that they're on a cruise or they're leaving tomorrow or something like that. All right, we got Michael Allen and Cruise Life TV. Yeah, so with Carnival Cruise Addicts and Cruise Life TV, are you all going on the same cruise? Because you're both 5 days. Michelle says, great videos. I'm glad you all had so much fun. Yeah, and there's plenty more videos to come. Thank you for that, Michelle. What did I release today? Oh, today was an easy video to release. I didn't have to do much editing. I released a video today with Lee. It was a Q&A session. So basically just had to film that and get that up on the screen. And yes, thank you for that, Tim. Let's get Tim on the board here and get Zoe off of my arm for a second. So Tim, you are 34 through 43. And look, she has been fiending over, these are like a premier chicken jerky, and it'll take her a minute to get through these. So now you'll be able to say thank you. Now you'll be able to say thank you. Say thank you to Tim and Cheryl. Say thank you. Say thank you. There you go. Good girl. Okay. That's going to take her a minute to get through that. So thank you for that, Tim. And yeah, so anybody new to the super chats, hey, Sherry is here. She says hello from Jay and Sherry, and great to have you always, Sherry and Jay. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, for those that don't know how the super chats work, you get a number assigned based on when you do a super chat. So for example, Tim has numbers 34 through 43 for that $10 super chat. Also, for a $10 super chat, Zoe gets a treat. Wow, you ate that way faster than I thought you were going to. And then for a $15 or more super chat, I get a treat myself, which I'm getting through this Buffalo Trace pretty quick. So there's about that much left, which that could be the show. We could, well, I don't know. That might be a little too much for a show, but so that's what we have going on. So basically today's show was going to be recapping the Carnival celebration and my thoughts of it. And let me start off by saying that I messed up, okay? Because I thought I was Mr. Smarty Pants here. And having been on the Carnival celebration 2 times before, I had a conversation with Lee. Several of you have seen that I've already got a couple videos out with Lee, and I have more to come with Lee. We did a lot of work on that last day. Let me just take a sip of my beverage here for a second. But here's where I failed with the celebration. Since I'd been on it 2 times previously, and Mardi Gras, the sister ship, a couple times, I just thought, well, I know where everything is. I know what I'm doing. I know the layout of the ship. I know the shows and things like that. So I didn't really plan for anything. I just figured, well, when it comes up, I'll know what to do and where to go, and it won't be much of an issue. So the thing about it is when you don't have a plan, you know, things just kind of come and go, and it just goes whizzing by you. And all of a sudden, you know, you're 2 or 3 days left in the cruise, and you're like, oh my God, I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I haven't done this, you know, from shows. For example, Most Magnificent Circus, I didn't even see because, you know, again, smart me was thinking, well, I won't go to the first or second showing because it'll be too crowded then. And I'll wait until one of the later showings, and this or that happened. And there was one day they had to cancel it because I guess the seas were a little rough or something like that. And I forget what happened on the last day, but just got too busy doing other stuff. And so I didn't end up seeing the Most Magnificent Circus, which is in part because I knew we were coming back New Year's Eve. And so I'd see it then. And I'd seen it one time previously. The thing that I felt bad about in regards to the Most Magnificent Circus is some of you saw the picture I posted when I went and saw Celestial Strings, which was great as always. But I was sitting in the front row with several members of the cast of the Most Magnificent Circus. And here's something I didn't know that some of you may not know either. So most of us have gone to Carnival ships, and it's the Playlist Productions, right? So I don't know how many of you are familiar with center stage, or you've probably heard that term, but maybe not know exactly what it meant in reference to Carnival. So for those of you that didn't know, Playlist productions and center stage are two completely different things. So center stage is a different cast altogether. Now they work on the same ship and they support one another, but that is the reason why, for example, the cast of the Most Magnificent Circus was in the front row watching Celestial Strings with me, is because they were just uh, you know showing support of their performers, and apparently they do this pretty much every week. They watch each other and support one another, whether that be in Celestial Strings. That is the only playlist production, by the way, that is in center stage. All the rest of them are in the Grand Spectrum Theater for Carnival Celebration. So for those people that didn't know, so just remember, center stage performers are a totally different set of performers than playlist. What that means, I don't know, but obviously they don't cross over. So if somebody's doing Celestial Strings, which is a playlist performance, that you're not going to also see them in the Most Magnificent Circus. So that might make a little bit more sense. Okay, Controversial Cruising is here. Rick says, on my column, I'm called the Texas Cruiser. I have a Facebook page for Texas Cruiser. Okay, good to know. And Scott's here from Controversial Cruising. We have Anna here. Hi to you, Anna. Moonlight Adventures, Josh and Chastity. What is going on to you, my friends? And yeah, and then Sherry's just saying hi to Carnival Cruise Addicts. And I think we're all caught up as far as that goes. Okay, so yeah, that was my error as far as this dog. I tell you, she is just tearing my arm up over here. I'm trying to give her some little bites to hold her off, but she. Okay, here you go. All right. So let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, Anna, absolutely. Nice meeting you also. And so many people. Met a lot of great people. For those of you that caught a couple of the lives and some of the videos that posted already, in addition to Lee being a friend of mine and such, Maria, who is a bartender at the Alchemy Bar, who we've become friends over the course of cruising. She is retiring. She's going off to get married, and after 10 years in Carnival, she is leaving Carnival altogether, and that's an exciting time for her. Obviously, I had the pleasure of going on an excursion with her in St. Thomas, so we did that together. And obviously I hung out at the Alchemy Bar a lot, and that was a lot of fun. I had flown in. No. She's starting to misbehave a little bit. She's getting a little anxious, but I had flown down Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday, because the cruise was leaving on Sunday, of course, and met up with my friends Lewis and Monsi, more cruise family that I had met in Alaska previously. And we had a good time hanging out Saturday night, went out for some dinner, and then got up. And the cool thing about that was I did not know that Lewis and Monty were even going on the cruise. I didn't even know they were going on the cruise. And then all of a sudden, he picks me up from the airport and he says, "Oh, hey, I was going to wait till tomorrow morning, but we're going with you." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so great." Because I have some friends in Texas that have been so nice to, drive me down to the port or whatever. And I've always thought, like, man, it would be great if you were driving down to go on with. And then sure enough, that was the case with Lewis and Monty. And we had a really good time hanging out. And look at that there. We got Sherry getting us all the way up to 93 now, all the way up to 93. Sherry, let me write you down here. So you are 44 through 93, which puts us only 7 away, and we will do the shirt drawing. So yeah, I am fairly certain we will get to that shirt drawing today now. So let's see, I lost my train of thought there for just a second. Oh yeah, so we were talking about Lewis and Monty. All right, so cruise day. What happened cruise day? So aside from it being cruise day and being the exciting day, getting on the ship was pretty painless. We got there, and I would say by the time we walked in, it was probably a little after 11. So they were a little late with starting boarding, But, you know, we timed it just about right to where when we got there, we got right on. And that went pretty well. After that, oh, okay. Jay, okay. Oh, look at that. All right. So we're ready. We are ready. Carnival Cruise Addicts, CCA. They get us to 100 here. And I just want to make sure that, so 94 through 100. So that is 7. And then 1 through 8. And then 1 through 8 on the next one. Carnival Cruise Addicts. I just want to make sure I have you written down for the next set of numbers so you get your whole 15. And yes, I do need a drink. And this is my first drink. And I will chase it with a little bit of Coke and bourbon. But this will be straight bourbon. But this is, again, this is Buffalo Trace here. And yeah, good call. I do need this one because it's been a hectic day. All right. Okay. Good stuff. We got Eric here from North Shore Travelers as well. All right. Let me just chase this a little bit. And Zoe, yes. Thank you for getting Zoe off me for a second. All right. Wait a minute. Sherry. So wait. Here, I got to get Sherry. So we got Zoe a whole bunch of treats here. So Sherry and Jay, we're going to put those aside here, and we'll take care of those. Carnival Cruise Addicts, this is for you, and thank you all for keeping the dog off my back. And yeah, Jay and Sherry, I owe you all one. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I got so busy talking, I forgot all about it. But thank you. You guys were supposed to be the first. So Sherry and Jay, this is yours. Carnival Cruise Addicts, I just did yours, or vice versa. But thank you, Sherry and Jay. And let's take care of sit. And thank you to Sherry. Say thank you. Say thank you. Now's your bark time. Say thank you. Good girl. Good enough bark. All right. We'll get Jay, and then we'll get Carnival Cruise Addicts. And again, thank you for having her not scratch up my arm. All right. And then look at that. Rick has joined in, and I'm going to write you down right now, Rick. So 9 through 13, Rick Wade. All right. And I think we are caught up with that. Okay. So Jay's saying draw a high number because they have numbers 44 through 93. Let's go through all the numbers here before I draw, and just put up Rick's number here because he said, for you Coach Cruise fans, I posted my latest column on the Coach Cruise Facebook page. And if Tim didn't already approve that, I will get that approved because we approve all the postings now. But thank you for posting that. And we will get that up, Rick. All right. So Carnival Cruise Addicts led us off with numbers 1 through 5. Then Lalila was number 6. Cruise Life TV, 7 through 26. Lalila again, 27 and 28. Frankie Floyd, 29 through 33, started us off tonight. Tim G was right behind with 34 through 43. Then Sherry and Jay, 44 through 93. And Carnival Cruise Addicts, 94 through 100. By the way, I just got a whole big batch of shirts in because I was running low on some shirts. So those people that wanted pink, or it's technically called heliconia, but it looks an awful lot like pink. Those are ready. If anybody's, and then I still think we have purple, black, lime, and blue. Those would be the other colors. All right. So everybody sees here, there is no number up there. And I called out everybody's number. So here we go. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. 89, and a high number it is. Okay, so Sherry and Jay, you said you wanted to get a high number, and it must have been listening because it sure gave you a high number. 89. So Sherry and Jay, you all win, and thank you again, and thank you everybody for all those super chats. Much, much appreciated. Especially after the way I did in the casino on this cruise. It was not good. So thank you very much. And okay, I think that first one was for Sherry. So this one will be for Jay, and then we got one here for you for Carnival Cruise Addict. So high five for Jay, and then say thank you to Jay. Say thank you. Good girl. Good girl. All right. All right. So we got a couple more people just checking in. Travel with Fun is here. Nice to have you here. Travel with Fun. Thanks for checking in with us. Z says, Coach, so what is the story about Cookie? Okay. Yeah. And thanks for bringing that up, Z. Some of you may have saw the conversation that I had with Lee over lunch at Guy's Burgers. And Cookie, I mean, the last time I cruised with Cookie, he told me, that he eventually wanted to get into some TV work or some movies and things like that. And that's really what he was aspiring to eventually do, that he wasn't going to be doing this for forever. And, at some point he wanted to transition. He didn't give an indication that would be as soon as it seems to be now that he's leaving us. But he did make that pretty clear. And he shared that with a number of people. That wasn't a big shock. I think when I first found out that he was getting the Mardi Gras, he seemed very happy with that. And I thought, well, that's probably going to satisfy his hunger, so to speak, for a while. And he's going to be good with that. But obviously that was not the case, as similar to Matt Mitchum, who was supposed to bring the Mardi Gras out, and then he unexpectedly left. Coincidentally, Cookie was to go onto the Mardi Gras, and he suddenly left, while he was on the Mardi Gras. So, yeah, it was surprising. But, I mean, he's just so talented. I mean, he's going to be one of these people that we hear from again. And if it's TV and movies that he wants to get into, we will see him in some capacity, whether it's on a smaller budget Netflix type thing or something. I'm pretty confident we're going to see him because he has a lot of talent and a great, great human being. And this Carnival Cruise Addicts, you want this, don't you? So high five for Carnival Cruise Addicts. High five again. And what do you say to them? Carnival Cruise Addicts, what do you say? Good girl. That was a big hearty thank you, wasn't it? All right. So thank you. So I'm caught up on Zoe there. So she'll start scratching my arm up again but Cookie. Yeah. And thanks for bringing that up, Z. Just an absolute wonderful human being. Those of you that have gotten the opportunity to cruise with him, I'm sure you would agree. He wanted you to call him cousin. He wanted you to feel like family. And, I mean, the thing that I enjoyed about him is he brought all races, colors, cultures, lifestyles. He brought everybody together and kind of made you overlook some of those things that maybe you didn't always overlook. And I know he shared, several stories about, people and kind of coping with that. And then after being on a cruise, them sharing how, that made them think differently, about some certain things. And, it's just, I mean, I know I cruised with a few people, some cruise fam that had cruised with him for the first time, and they were just overwhelmed by how much, they liked him. So Frankie just is posting right here that Cookie was supposed to be our cruise director in 11 days, but I was fortunate enough to cruise with him before. So that's good. And Frankie, I think you're getting a gentleman by the name of Jackie that I've heard really, really good things about. And I just have not had the fortune of cruising with yet. I also heard that Jackie was going to be on the Venezia at some point. And I don't think he's going to be on there when I'm on there, but I could be wrong. I'm going on the Venezia in June. So I'm looking forward to cruising with Jackie. And I do believe that who's going to sub in for Cookie. So yeah, Frankie is saying yes, that it is Jackie. And like I said, I've heard really, really good things about Jackie. So I think you'll be in good hands there. And as a matter of fact, I'm curious as to what you're going to think about him. Jason said Jackie was on the horizon with us in February. We liked him. Okay, well, you already got one response there, one review from Jason. Ted says, I cruised with Jackie Tang on the Dream, and he is good. Yes. I mean, it seems to be, if you are getting some XL experience, you're a good cruise director. I mean, they're not just pulling out anybody and everybody to be on the XL. You got to have some talent. So Jackie had already been subbing in here and there on the XL cruise ships. So he definitely is somebody that, yeah. And then Eric's chiming in. So a lot of Jackie, and I think it's Tang, right? Yeah, Jackie Tang. A lot of people that have gotten the opportunity to cruise with Jackie are saying some good things. Down Under Cruiser, Cookie was just awesome. We'll miss him very much. We had him on the horizon. Yes, and that's when I had him as well. And pardon me as I take a drink here. Oh, I'm parched. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Rick, I hope, was the last one. Okay, good. I was just making sure. And by the way, so I don't forget, Rick, you are 9 through 13, if I didn't say, on the next drawing. Carnival Cruise Addicts is 1 through 8. They had 93 through 100 or 94 through 100 on the last one, and then 1 through 8, and then you're 9 through 13. So, yeah, we're all caught up. So, yeah, that's pretty much the thing with Cookie. I'm really hoping that he achieves and does the things that he wants to do. He's still been very active in his social media. For those of you that aren't already following him on Facebook, it's, Cookie, the Cookie Monster or something like that. I forget exactly but you'll be able to find him pretty easy if you do a search on Facebook, and you can keep up to date with what's going on with him. So that was that. All right. So yeah. So cruise day, let's get back to the Carnival celebration. Cruise day, there was Sunday. So there was football going on. And I do remember, I had to get some shirts passed out for some people that were, going on the Coach Cruise bar crawl the following day. And so I told everybody to go to Guys because I knew that's where the football would be. And so my Raiders were playing the Dolphins. There's naturally a lot of Dolphins fans on cruise ships since I lived down in the Florida area. So I was a little incognito. I didn't wear any Raider gear or anything like that, but I was rooting for them, and they played better than I expected them to play. I didn't expect them to, be within 7 points and have the ball with a chance to tie at the end of the game. So even though they lost, I was like, okay, it's a good consolation. I wasn't like embarrassed by them or anything. So that worked out okay. And I know Jay, who was in the comments here, he had messaged me saying, about them beating the Raiders, which I'm like, yeah, it's okay. They did all right, did better than I expected them to. So it was fine. So then later that night, I think it was just about, getting cruise experience. We did go to the steakhouse. I always like to do that. The steakhouse didn't disappoint. And then I already released that cruise day video. I got the smoked oysters as an appetizer, the lobster bisque, which I always do. I wasn't super hungry, so I did the filet mignon rather than the big 18-ounce spiced rub ribeye or the cowboy steak like I normally do. And then I went with the cheesecake. So really great start to the day. And then, like I said, seeing Maria, who I mentioned earlier, that's getting married, and hanging out at the Alchemy bar for a while, and then going around and checking out some of the other bars as well. Now, Monday was the day of the bar crawl. And so we met up, and over 100 people had signed up. And I can tell you from doing these bar crawls, and that's one of the common questions I get on the Coach Cruise Facebook page, is people seeing the bar crawls that I host and then wanting to do one because they see how much fun it is, or they've been on one of mine and they want to get, some tips for doing their own. I'll say it again. I've said it on here a few times. What you need to do, it's not that hard, is first get a group together, so create a event. For those of you that are going on a future cruise, if you look on the events and you don't see a bar crawl, You say, hey, I want to do a bar crawl. You can set it up yourself. It's not quite as hard as you might think. You do have to make sure you're responsible and getting everything done, but get the group set up. Then once you get on the ship, you want to make sure that you contact the beverage manager almost as soon as you get on. And that's the most important person, because that's the person that assigns all the bartenders. So there are a number of senior bartenders that aren't exclusive to one bar. They kind of go where they're needed. Now, when there's a big event like this and they can spare them, they will allow the senior bartenders to work with you. So in our case, we probably ended up with about 65 people at one point or another in our group, and we were all traveling together. So naturally, that's going to overwhelm almost any bar. Now, a couple ways that you can make it go smoother is if you pick a suggested drink at each particular bar. And then that way they can kind of go ahead and pre-make a lot of those drinks. So if 50 of your 65 people, for example, all get that suggested drink, then they can just get those out right away. And Randolph was the gentleman that was our senior bartender, and he was great. What he did was he took everybody's card ahead of time, and he said, look, if you're not going to have a drink at a particular bar or something like that, let me know. I won't charge you for it. And at the end, rather than having us sign a slip, which we've done in other bar crawls before, and it can be a little burdensome and cumbersome, everybody signing these slips, is he said, look, I'll just print up one slip at the end, and any tips that you want to leave, leave, and I will share that with all the bartenders of the bars that we went to. And that ended up working out great. I gave, him a separate cash tip on the side, but he was wonderful. And we actually ended up doing 2 bar crawls, and all the bartenders were wonderful. Dexter was not traveling with us, but he works at he was working at the Watering Hole and also Latitudes. And I've seen him on 3 different cruises now, 2 on the Celebration and 1 on the Valor. But he helped get the whole thing set up as far as the bar crawl goes and make sure everything went smooth. So, he played a big role in it as well. So yeah, the bar crawl went great. I mean, if you saw the bar crawl video, you saw how much fun everybody had. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it seems like there's something unique about each and every bar crawl. The thing that I noticed on this one was people just breaking out and singing. I think I noticed it first after about bar 3, we started to get some groups, and I saw it was almost like a little karaoke going or something. Somebody would start to sing the first couple chords of a song, and then there'd be a group of about 8 or 9 people singing the song, and then by the end of it, we had the whole group singing like Sweet Caroline and songs that everybody kind of knows. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kevin B is checking in again, and it's great to see you back, Kevin. Let's see. Let me catch up on the comments. Yeah, Ted is saying in regards to Cookie that we were talking about, I think it will do well. And I wish him well in his endeavors. Frankie Floyd, I would like to do a bar hop sometime next year. Yeah, Frankie, absolutely. Absolutely. And anybody that might be going New Year's Eve on the Carnival Celebration, I'll be doing a bar crawl. And I pushed it back an hour. And the bar crawl, the timing of it is weird. And I think this New Year's Eve cruise is going to be one of my lesser attended bar crawls, and for good reason. So we actually board the ship on the Carnival Celebration on December 31st. We are boarding on New Year's Eve. So, I mean, the party, I guess that's a great way to start your cruise, right? You're just going to be in full on party mode right from the beginning. But I'm guessing they're going to make that formal night, because typically it's always that second night, right? But you can't have New Year's Eve, because most people are going to dress up on New Year's Eve, or a lot of people are going to dress up, and then expect them to dress up right again the very next day. So I'm thinking what they'll do is they'll make formal night that very first night, as everybody celebrates New Year's Eve. And then there won't be another formal night until the second to last night. So I think that's what it'll be. So the reason I was saying is it's a weird thing for the bar crawl is there's only one sea day before our first port, and you can't do the bar crawl on a port day. There's just not enough time with dinner and things like that. So that means it has to be on New Year's Day. The bar crawl has to be on New Year's Day. And what's going on New Year's Day? A lot of football is going on New Year's Day. So the combination of people partying New Year's Eve the night before, plus football going on New Year's Day. So I'm not sure we're going to get quite the crowd that we'd normally get. As a matter of fact, I told you by the end of it, we had 100 people signed up, and what is it? It was about 65 roughly that ended up showing up. This particular cruise, and granted, it's 30 some odd days away, so we'll have a lot more people sign up. But this dog, I tell you, she's gonna draw blood again. This time we got about 30 or 40, and yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it'll be fun regardless. Jimbo from Info, the last night was a crazy time, wasn't it? Not for a good reason, though. Oh, yeah. So Jimbo is referring to, you probably saw also one of my videos that I released, and I just pulled that off of Facebook. But there was a fight at, on the very last night, and I had gone back to my room, and all of a sudden, not too long after getting back to my room, I hear this message coming over the intercom in regards to security, and they were using a code. They weren't saying that it was a fight or anything, but they were saying, everybody come to this location. And it was by guest services. So I knew something was serious. I knew it was probably some kind of altercation, obviously, but I didn't run out there and go check on it anyway. I was trying to get a little nap in real quick. Sure enough, it was a fight. I mean, you saw the video footage that I put out on the video there. And one thing that was interesting to me on that fight, or I don't even know if it was a full-on fight as much as it was almost a kind of fight, and a lot of screaming and yelling and pointing and, maybe people getting in each other's face, because no video that I've seen actually showed a fight per se, just mostly, a lot of people pointing fingers. And I know a lot of people are making fun of the lady that's saying, don't touch me, and this and that. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. It really is. I mean, these are adults. Like, if we saw kids do this, we'd scold the kids and say how disappointed we were in them. But, when you're going on a vacation, especially a family oriented cruise line like Carnival, and then you have people just obviously that have no care whatsoever for anybody but themselves, to just make a big scene and not care who's around. And again, you're on vacation. So, I mean, I know everything doesn't always go perfect on vacation. And, I mean, there's things that happen, and sure, you can get upset, but to just, I don't know, it just looks so bad. It just looks so ugly. And when you think these are adults, and I know the other thing too is a lot of people say, well, this is Carnival. This is the first cruise I can remember where an incident happened like this, that was, that magnified, that many people involved, and, looked bad. I mean, I know there's obviously fights and things like that go on, but it's one of those things where when it does happen, it's shared so much and seen so many times that people just assume that it just happens all the time, over and over, on every cruise almost, which isn't the case, but it just kind of makes it seem like that. And Rick is saying, yeah, I saw the video, and wow, Lee was there. And I tried to, that's what I was trying to do, Rick. And I'll put that up on the screen. Thank you for that. I was impressed by that, right? Now, Lee, as many of you know, 2-time cruise director of the year. and there's all these people yelling and screaming and threatening to fight and who knows whatever else, and just seems like almost like dozens of people are involved if you look at that video. I don't know if it was that much or if it's just, that chaotic that it seemed that way. But who do you see in the middle of it all? Lee. Lee. Now, again, he wasn't grabbing. No, he wasn't grabbing people or separating or anything like that, but he was just being a bit of a peacemaker and just kind of making sure, things were calmed down. And yeah, so I thought that was really cool because, obviously that's not something that I think he obligated to do, but he wanted to do, and he played a part in getting all that resolved. So that was good to see. Okay. So what else after that? So somebody was asking me what was the highlight, like what was the top thing from this particular cruise. Now, one thing as far as entertainment goes, and it's probably because I did it the first time, evolution. I know I talked about this with a couple people on here previously before going on Celebration, and they said, "Oh, you got to go see Evolution." And I'm like, "What is Evolution?" And I didn't fully know what it was. I kind of thought it was a show, and I guess it is kind of a show per se. But DJ Q, who I think probably is about the best DJ on the seas, he kind of leads the whole thing. Oh, Jimbo. Well, yeah, that was a big one too. But he kind of leads the whole thing getting back to Evolution, and he is just phenomenal. He can get you. He would be a great person to hype up a team to get ready to play a game. I mean, he's got that type of energy where, he just makes you want to stand up and get moving. I'm not the person that's the first out on the dance floor. I'm probably the person that's more to be last out on the dance floor. And that's probably after I got a few drinks in me. But it's not that I don't like music or love music. I probably safely can say I do. It's just, you're nervous. You don't think you dance good, whatever. But when he is in front of the microphone and playing the music, it changes things. I mean, he is just so good at what he does. He gets you moving and kind of gets you excited about the whole thing. And so what they do is, he starts on stage and they got the big LCD screens behind. So there's all these different colors, and it's saying Evolution here. And I mean, just so colorful and vibrant. And the auditorium is packed. The Grand Central stage area, it's all packed. So many people. And it's just it's just really cool. And they start off, and he's just playing, cover music that you probably heard, mixing it up a little bit, but it's from all the different genres. And then what also happens is like he'll have like the playlist cast will come in. And so the playlist dancers will come out there and they'll be dancing. The fun squad comes out there and they're dancing. He pretty much brings all the different live musicians into the performance at some point, and they're performing. I mean, there's ladies and guys dancing on platforms, and just by the end of it, you have this big mosh pit, I guess, of probably close to 100 people, all just in the middle, just dancing and having a great time, while everybody else is kind of standing up wherever they're seated, and just kind of dancing in place because it's so much fun. So yeah, that's definitely a great thing, and you definitely want to check that out. And oh yeah, Kevin, yeah. I don't have quite the talent to pull that off. Kevin is saying about Dirty Dancing, but yeah, no. Let's see. And Cruise Life TV is saying, hope he's on board next week. And yes, he will be on board, because Cruise Life TV, I didn't even know he was going to be on board. And as a matter of fact, I had seen a different DJ several times in Lee's previous posts. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's too bad. DJ Q's on vacation. It's too bad. I'm going to miss him. And then sure enough, I get there for the sail away party. And then I hear Lee say DJ Q. And I'm like, is somebody using DJ Q's name? But no, sure enough, it was DJ Q. And I asked him, I was like, when did you get back? And he's like, just yesterday. So that cruise was his first cruise back. So yeah, I was lucky. So Cruise Life TV, you are going to get to enjoy you some DJQ, and make sure you don't miss Evolution, because that's a one-time show. It's toward the end of the cruise, and it is a lot of fun. Travel with Fun says, how was the cruise? Going over that now, but yeah, I gotta say it was a lot of fun. Now, I did mention, and I shared some video on this already, I stayed in the Havana area. Some of you have heard me put down the Havana area on the XL class. This is the first time I've actually stayed in it. And let me say this about the Havana area. What I've said in the past is pretty true. On the Vista class, I said they did that right, and I stick to that. They did the Vista class right. I mean, you have a nice big pool. You have a bar facing the big pool, some generous seating, and 2 hot tubs on the side. So, you have a waiting staff that, brings you drinks if you want, or you can go right up to the bar. That's how you do a Havana area. Now, this Havana area on the XL class, they have a tiny little pool. It's in a cool little location, I'll give it that, where you can kind of overlook the ocean, and it's kind of like an infinity pool type of setup. And you have some great views, but it's 3.5 feet deep, and the water was crazy cold. Like, I only got into I think it was just 2 times. And each time it was like, each step was like, and then I didn't even fully stay in it very long, just because it was so ice cold. And that's it. I mean, there's no hot tubs to get into or anything. So there would not be a lot of people out socializing like where you would see in the Vista class. On the Vista class, the Havana area is like a party. Everybody for that given week, you see at some point, and they're hanging out back there, enjoying the pool, enjoying the hot tub. And it's just a really good time. And you pay a premium for that. Well, at least one other cruiser, one of the people I met, the 2 times I went into the pool, got an offer of only a $300 upgrade to switch into the Havana area. So I went from an interior, and then Friday, 2 days before the cruise, they called me and said, hey, would you like an upgrade for $300? I'm like, $300? I go from an interior to, a cabana patio in the Havana. And again, I knew it wasn't the Vista class, but I couldn't turn that down. So I'm glad I made that switch. Now, the Havana area, this is what I'll say for those of you out there that are looking for a relaxing getaway. That Havana area on the XL class is your ticket, because there is a lot of seating, and it's a lot quieter than your Havana area on the Vista class will be. So if you're looking to get away from people and you don't want to be around a lot of noise, and you just want to take an occasional dip and have access to a bar that's close by you, then that Havana area is a wonderful spot. But for all those other reasons, I'm still going to rate the Vista class far ahead of it. But you get it. All right. Kevin says, all right, coach, game is back on. Have a good rest of my life. Well, I hope that doesn't mean you're gone for good, Kevin. We definitely want you to come back. Sherry is heading out, and good night, Sherry. And thanks once again for joining, and Jay as well, if Jay is leaving. Justin says, I hope he's going to be on board when I get on that. Yeah. Justin, when are you getting on the celebration? Travel with Fun's getting on the celebration in 3 weeks ahead of December 17th. Okay, so yeah, Travel with Fun, he'll definitely be on there for you, DJQ, that is. Cruise Life TV says, your room looks sweet. We enjoyed your cabin tour. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was a great room. I even enjoyed the artwork. I had a nice old picture on there, and yeah, that was good stuff. And yeah, Tim saying good night to Sherry and Jay. So yeah, the room was good. Food. Let's talk about food a little bit. Now, I mentioned I went to the steakhouse. I ended up going to the steakhouse twice. But aside from the steakhouse, the very first thing I did, and it's becoming a tradition now, is I headed right up to Shaq's Chicken. And I ate at Shaq's Chicken 2 different times, and both times I got the Uncle Jerome sandwich. The first time on cruise day, I got the Uncle Jerome, and that was it by itself, and some French fries, and I was good with that. The second time, I hadn't eaten all day, and that ended up being my lunch and dinner. So I got the Uncle Jerome, and then I also got the Shack Attack. Now, both of those sandwiches are supposed to be a little bit spicy. I still prefer the Uncle Jerome over any of the other sandwiches. It's got the right amount of spice, and yeah, it's good stuff. So Uncle Jerome, that is my recommendation for Shaq's Big Chicken. As far as the main dining room, I went to the main dining room one time exactly, and that was on the Elegant night. And I got the prime rib and lobster. Both were very good. Um, I mean, not like out of this world good or anything, but for free, very good. And what else? I did the Java Blue Cafe, especially for those of you on the Cheers package. Well, even if you're not on the Cheers package, the bourbon milkshake. They do have spiked milkshake. So if you have the Cheers package, you can get that included with your Cheers package. And that was a good thing. Shows I saw, I mentioned Celestial Strings. Um, Celestial Strings. Again, I think most of you that are avid cruisers have seen Celestial Strings, but for those of you that have not seen it, it's definitely a show you want to check out. So it is on the Carnival Celebration. It's on the Carnival Mardi Gras. It's on the Carnival Horizon. I believe it's on the Carnival Panorama. There's a number of ships it's on. So if you haven't been on one of those ships and you're going on one soon, definitely want to check out Celestial Strings. And let's see. Strawberry Blonde just got off the celebration on the 19th. Okay, so what was your review, Strawberry Blonde? What did you think on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you give your cruise experience, the ship and the entertainment and everything? 10 being the best and 1 being the worst. Where would you rate that cruise? Travel with Fun says, I saw your video of the fight that happened on the celebration. I hope nothing like, yeah. Yeah, Travel with Fun. We talked about that briefly. I think most cruises, that's the exception, not the rule. You don't see that type of thing very often. I'm trying to think, honestly, I can't think of any other time that I've done probably over 50 cruises. I can't think of any other time where there was a situation like that. I mean, I've seen arguments and people kind of confronting one another, but nothing that ever escalated to anything like that. That was kind of bad, and even with that, I don't know if there was full on punches ever thrown or anything. So as bad as that looked, and I know it looked very bad, it might not even have been a full on fight. It might have just been a lot of shouting and yelling and people saying crazy stuff. And you get the one lady, don't touch me, don't touch me, this and that. And yeah, it was a very ugly looking incident, which may have been a lot more bark than bite, so to speak. But whether it was either or doesn't make it look any prettier than it was. So yeah, disappointing, but I'm pretty confident that nothing like that will happen with you. And the other thing is, it's Thanksgiving week. I mean, so that was what, Saturday night. So I mean, you're 2 days removed from Thanksgiving, and you're already fighting, and supposedly it involved family. So yeah. Let's see here. We see Maria got it right at the end by calling you Coach Cruise, not Cruise Coach. Yeah, you know what? And the funny thing about that is Maria, she would always, and for those of you that haven't watched a bunch of my videos, she would always, and that's one of the things I love about her is, she would see me, and if I was going to the Alchemy bar, there would be times where I'd be like, okay, I need to have my camera ready, because she would always, go Cruise Coach, and stick her hands up in the air and, make you feel all giddy or, special or whatever by doing that. And there'd be times I'd walk around and I'd be getting the camera ready, and she'd see me from way far off and yell it out. I'm like, ah, dang it, I missed filming it or whatever. So yeah, it's always fun going to the bar with her. And another thing that she does that I like to mimic a lot is she says "yeah" a different way. She goes "yeah" or "yeah." I don't know. I can't even. It's hard to duplicate when she says it. I can say it right after her and say, and in my mind it sounds the same, but she's just got a unique accent or flair to be able to say that. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose here. I think Zoe's getting me some allergies or something. All right, let me. Oh, geez, that's too bad. I'm looking at Strawberry Blonde's um, comment. They said compared to our other cruises, my husband and I didn't enjoy it. I was ready to get off on day 4 of 7. That's a really, really tough review there. What didn't you like? What turned you off so bad, Strawberry Blonde? I'm just curious what you didn't like. And you know what? That's interesting, and that reminded me of a comment. I was speaking to somebody at the Alchemy Bar, and he saw my buttons and stickers that I give away to everything, and he's like, what do you do? And I told him about the channel, this and that, and he was telling me how he had gone on Norwegian, and he had been on 9 cruises with Norwegian, and he said, you know what? He's like, the food, terrible, terrible. He just said the food was just so bad at Norwegian, and he's like the crew, rude, weren't apologetic and things like that. And he's like, the food here is so much better. And he talked about the crew has always been great with Carnival. I mean, you can say, the food has been, here and there, but the crew is always just wonderful, in my opinion. Just how great they are and nice and go out of their way. And so, one of the things that he had said about Norwegian is, I guess they burned his shirt, that he sent to the dry cleaner. And he was telling me, it was like $80 shirt. And he went and he took it, and they said, okay, well, we can give you $35. I guess that's their flat rate for if a shirt gets damaged or ruined or something like that. And he said, well, it's $80. He's like, and it didn't bother him that, that it was that $35 thing. He wasn't upset about that per se. He was just upset about, the fact that they didn't apologize. They didn't say, oh, we're sorry this happened or anything like that. They're basically just like, we're going to give you a $35 credit and this and that. And then like I said, he said the food was bad and this. So he left Norwegian, and he said, he was very happy with Carnival and, the experience that he'd gotten with Carnival, and said that, he switched allegiances, he switched loyalty. So I thought that was interesting. But then Strawberry Blonde, that you all said that, you wanted to get off day 4 of 7. I haven't seen the reason yet, but I'm sure you had a good one. And then, incidents like that fighting. If you're a new cruiser and you're trying to decide a cruise line to go to, and you see a video like that, you might think twice and say, well, you know what? Maybe we'll pass on this Carnival thing, because you might get in your head that this is happening a lot on multiple cruises, which really isn't the case, but it can sure seem that way when you see a bunch of videos like that. Will says, I talked to someone on the Dream in October, and they said the same thing about Royal. Yeah. Yeah. So depending upon your experience, you can really get a different view of something. I talked to a person or two that, for example, those of you know, I'm friends with Lee, and I think he's just great. And, I see him in action so often. I see the interactions that he has with people, with young people, with people that are hearing impaired, young people, old people. And I'm just amazed at how he can communicate and make all these different people just feel included and special, much the way Cookie would, for example. And they were great friends as well. But I'd heard from a couple of people, like they didn't think much of him, didn't think he was bad, but they said, well, we haven't seen him, and we think this person's better or this person's better, and everybody's got their opinions and entitled to those opinions by all means. So some people are gonna what's that expression? You can please all of the people some of the time, some of the people all the time, but you'll never please all of the people all of the time. And I think that's kind of what the situation is with a lot of this. So Travel Fun says I'll get to see Lee for a second time. Rick says I've been sailing with Royal for 35 years and never had a bad cruise. And Rick, that is an exemplary record. 35 years, never had a bad cruise. And you know what? I got to say, I don't know if I've ever had a bad cruise. Certainly, you've had cruises that were better than others. I've had cruises where I've lost a lot of money, and so it was bad from that respect. But I can't say that I've ever had a bad cruise where I just was miserable going or anything like that. So I think I'm in agreement with you there, Rick, but I think you got me beat by a few years. But yeah, you know what? I we're done. It's already an hour in. There's 36 of you that are still on here, and thank you for that. Thank you for sticking all the way to the end. I know this one wasn't as interactive as I normally like it to be because I was just kind of reviewing the Carnival celebration and kind of giving you my experience. I hope that helps some of you or you enjoyed that in some capacity. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats, and thank you, everybody who entered comments and things. So North Shore Travelers is heading off. If you haven't already hit that like button, if you could do that on the way out, that will help get this replay out to more people. And again, thank you, everybody, for joining, and we'll see you next Tuesday. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.